What's up internet, Kevin here. Now, as I've told you guys before, I don't get stuff in advance, so it's pretty much near impossible to get a full review out for a game on release day, or very shortly or thereafter. But I also know that really soon early content is important to you guys because you want to know what I think on games, especially for really big name titles, for instance, let's say, Destiny. So, I'm going to start doing more of these sort of first day impression videos, not where I just sort of play the game a little bit and give you guys my thoughts right away on release day, but instead, on the following day after release, I'm going to let you know what my experiences have been like for my first full 24 hours with the game. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's talk about my first day with Destiny. So first off, just to be clear, all the gameplay you're going to be seeing here and my experience with the game is based on the Xbox One version. Now, before you guys start yelling any kind of console war stuff in the comments, just to be clear, the reason why I picked Xbox One is because I have more friends that play on that system, and of course, I want to play a co-op game with my friends. That's why I got that particular version of the game. So I started up yesterday. I created an Exo Hunter as my first character. I'm planning on trying all the classes at some point down the line, but that's just what I picked first. And I played throughout most of the day, really just focusing on the story mode and cooperative aspects of the game. I really haven't spent any time on the Crucible mode just yet, and I ended the night at around level 12. Now, if you guys haven't looked too in-depth into the game's character creation just yet, the way it works is you pick one of three races, which are purely cosmetic. You've got old-fashioned humans, awakened, which are like giant colorful Smurf humans, and Exos, which are robots. But more importantly, you pick one of the game's three classes, which are the Titan, the Warlock, or the Hunter. Now, as I said earlier, I went with the Hunter first, which is the most agile class. It has the highest agility stat, which affects movement speed. They also get a double jump or even triple jump ability down the line, and their special moves are the most focused on just pure DPS. So it's kind of the roguish class flavor-wise, as opposed to the Titan, who's just a walking tank and conventionally even erect barriers, or the Warlock that has a mage flavor going on with AoE moves and even a healing power later on. So after you've made your character, you get thrown into Destiny's story mode, which has you as this long dead person that's been brought back to life as a guardian to help save the universe against darkness and protect humanity, and blah blah blah, that whole traditional shtick. Lots of terms are going to get thrown at you right away, and this game even makes kind of an inside joke right away by saying you're not really going to understand a lot of the things you see right away. The game really takes almost no time introducing a lot of the backstory to it. You just kind of get thrown into the action a lot and have to piece together things bit by bit from what little you understand, which normally would bother me a little bit in an RPG, but this is an FPS game as well, so there's a much heavier emphasis on the action, so it doesn't bother me quite as much, but I still would have liked a little more of a slower introduction to who all the different races are and why we're fighting different enemies, and just the backstory to everything, aside from just the fact that you're a guardian of light and darkness equals bad. So playing through the story is a really straightforward experience. When you check out a planet to go to, you'll have your choice of either tackling a specific story mission right from the get-go, or you can do a sort of free roam option where you just run around on the planet finding extremely simple fetch quests in order to get a little extra experience or find loot. One thing I noticed right away is that just doing story quests is not going to provide enough experience for you to just go right from one quest to the next. You have to take time on occasion grinding some extra XP, either by doing those fetch quests I mentioned earlier, or by accepting bounties, which are a more FPS-style quest system. Things like needing to get 100 headshot kills or by taking down so many tougher enemies. Bounties generally end up taking a lot longer to complete than fetch quests, but you can just do them in the background as you progress the story or free roam, and they give you a lot more experience for your trouble. They also come in Crucible themed forms, so if you want to take time playing the competitive modes a lot, then you can still get rewards that way too. You can also replay any story mission as many times as you want if you just want to grind experience the old-fashioned way, and you can also re-tackle them on a higher difficulty mode featuring higher level enemies, so you still have a little bit of variety going on in terms of how you want to grind up your XP. So when Destiny was first revealed and a lot of people were starting to build buzz for it, a lot of people were throwing around the term that it was going to be an MMO FPS hybrid, which isn't really that accurate. In fact, even Bungie wanted to stray away from using that word, because while it does have certain similar characteristics, there's not a lot that you can really directly compare it to for real MMOs like, say, World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV. It ends up having a lot more in common with something like, say, Borderlands. The big difference being that rather than having straight up drop-in, drop-out co-op, the game does give you the chance to run into other players on the field and maybe even join up with them on the spot. But each instance area normally doesn't have that many players active all at once. I've seen at most 7 other people in one fairly large region, and as soon as you enter any kind of major instanced part for a quest, they'll disappear very quickly. So it's all still very much a more personal, smaller scale co-op focused game that just gives you more ways to encounter and interact with other players, but doesn't go to the same full scale as what many people would think of as a traditional MMO. So as for how I've been enjoying the game so far, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't completely sucked into it at the moment. But to be fair, I do have a habit of doing that with any game that has a leveling system, just because I get so hooked on trying to reach the next level and unlock more and more abilities to mess with. And on that note, a similar tangent I want to talk about real quick is how they integrated experience into weapons. Basically, when you find rarer or magical weapons in the game, the way that's handled is that they have their own experience bar, so when you use them often, over time you'll unlock new special abilities and upgrades for them. It might be something as simple as more damage for your weapon, or a passive bonus to reload speeds or max ammo, or might even be something changeable like what kind of sight your gun uses, which, as I said, I like leveling up, and that adds just another thing to try out and develop. Now, another thing I'm liking so far is the way they've approached environments. Each planet just has one large area that you can explore and tackle quests in, but they're all appreciably pretty large, and each one has offered a very different kind of world. So far I've tackled the first 3 major locations, which are the Earth, specifically Old Russia, the Moon, and most recently Venus, which is just all very yellow. So for now at least, I'm pretty hooked on the game, but of course that doesn't really mean much since it's only been a day. I will say that the one thing I'm really curious about is how the endgame will work out for this, or if there will even be an endgame stuff to do outside of the Crucible. You know, once a character hits max level, what is there to help drive you to keep doing cooperative missions? Or is it just about competitive at that point, which I plan to find out by just playing the game a lot more. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to work and just keep playing Destiny, and once I feel satisfied that I've tried out all of its different aspects, I'll bring you guys my full review, hopefully sometime in the middle of next week. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more of these 24-hour first day impression vids, go ahead and let me know by hitting that thumbs up button or letting me know down in the comments as well. Also, if this is your first time stumbling upon this channel and you like what you see and you don't want to miss that full review next week, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Kevin Kenson. That's a more direct way of contacting me if you want to ask me any questions, or if you just want a way to stay up to date on what videos I'm uploading when and where. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I'm Kevin Kenson, and I'll see you guys later.